Hello folks, it's Mike Hanson from Mike Hanson Archives, and Mike Hanson Archives is sponsored by Guadalupe Valley Services for all your carpentry and paint needs. And now here's Victoria.
And I love Mike Hanson's Archives.
Absolutely folks, keep watching right here on band.video on Infowars.com. Thank you Alex for the channel, we really appreciate it. We're getting some information out. That's why they call it an information war.
Info war.
And we are beating the New World Order.
Every time.
Thank you, folks. Well, everybody, happy Sunday. Victoria, we're working on a Sunday, but she got up early this morning cooking for us. And let me tell you something. If we open up a restaurant in Gonzales, it'd be busy day and night with lines. This stuff is absolutely great. And they just don't cook Mexican food like this in Gonzales.
No, this is original. This is the original.
Look at that.
Latino.
Spoon that right there. Look how good that is.
Oh my this is picadillo, and it has burnt, roasted vegetables in it.
I know Cammie, the secretary's out there licking her Tums. You might want to leave her a plate.
I am.
Okay, we're leaving you a plate behind here at the office.
Yes, you're getting
just look at that. Oh, I just love it.
I'm
on my second.
It's got roasted vegetables in it.
It's good.
I even roast vegetables.
Hey, tell them about your little. You should have had that little about the culinary school.
Oh yeah, I'm a graduated chef with an associate's degree from Augustine Escoffier in culinary arts.
All the workers are having a good time.
Yes. It's in homemade salsa.
She got up. What time did you get up this morning cooking? 3 hours.
I've been up since about 7. I got up to cook 3 hours.
We just got back from Austin doing being on a big job. We're starting tomorrow, and then we're starting another job Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday, another job.
So if anybody wants any paint, I'm trying to do a plug over here. If anybody wants paint and carpentry, you better get on the list because we're moving fast, girl.
Yes, and it's an outstanding job.
Yeah, we do. Yes, we do outstanding job.
Don't get any better.
We got all the good workers. They're all eating over there.
Yeah, but don't get any better.
Working on a Sunday, too. Mike Hanson Archives, sponsored by Guadalupe Valley Services, with all your carpentry and paint needs in the Gonzales, Texas area. Now, back to the future.
Victoria Ross, and I love Mike Hanson's Archives.
I love Mike Hanson Archives.
Yeah! You're ready to run. I live for it.
gentlemen, I'm Alex Jones. It's June 6th, 2002. We have a corrupt system, a group of large international corporations that are hundreds of years old that have created a new world order through institutions like the United Nations, the IMF, the World Bank, and the World Health Organization, the World Trade Organization. They are overthrowing national governments and using those governments to consolidate the wealth, the ideas, the very freedoms of the subject peoples. We are fighting the new world order. Now, day one, September 11th, I told you that the attack was the globalist, the military-industrial mind control complex. That has now begun to come out. They're trying to spin things right now, distract you off of the real hard evidence and divert you off into issues of little or no significance, and actually use all this government prior knowledge evidence that's coming out as an excuse to get even more power over our lives. It's like the police catch somebody robbing a bank and they walk up and say, hey, just put your gun down, we're going to help you load the gold bars and cash in your car, and we're going to shoot the hostages here in the bank for you. Now, don't ever rob a bank again, or we'll have to help load everything in the car for you. The FBI got more power in ~95, doubled the funding of total anti-terrorism, an attack on our liberties, and more attacks came. Just like the more prisons and the more tyranny you see, the more drugs are on the streets. So they bring it in. They bring you the crises. Sumner Redstone with MTV tells your kids to use it. They do. It's all about destroying the society. So we're going to go through some government prior knowledge today, some of the latest developments, the whitewash that's going on in Congress right now. Now, they had the Judiciary Committee with Senator Arlen Specter, the guy that came up with the magic bullet theory when he was the head staffer in the Warren Commission, now a senator, been the head of most of the major whitewashes. They had an FBI worship fest today in the hour or so that I could watch. They were all groveling before the new SS commander, and I mean that literally, Mueller. Now, on top of that, they're having secret meetings all this week in the Senate Intelligence Committee, secret meetings, and they admit to script it for next week's hearing. They throw it in your face so that none of our assets get endangered. Now, again, I didn't just tell you the government was involved in this on September 11th. I warned you about it beforehand. I said, quote, bin Laden's a CIA asset. Looks like he's going to be allowed to attack New York here very soon. Call the White House. Tell them Alex Jones sent you. Tell them we know you're going to blow buildings up. We know you're going to attack New York and other cities. Here's the phone number. Tell them that if you do, we're going to expose that you were behind it. Well, that happened, and now we've done that. And my documentary film, The Road to Tyranny, is sending shockwaves through Washington. We've talked to McKinney's office and others. This tape is all over D.C. The globalists have been popping it in VCRs, and it's definitely causing them a headache. And this is just the stuff we can prove. 10 times what's come out in the mainstream media. But last week, this came out in Newsweek and the London Guardian and everywhere else. This story, hijackers trailed by CIA before attacks. Now, for 2 years they were following them. They knew they were al-Qaeda. They followed them to meetings overseas, and what they did was protect them. This government has a terrorist protection program instead of a informant protection or witness protection program. In fact, FBI agents that tried to stop al-Qaeda were threatened with arrest. We reported this. The BBC reported this. We reported this with David Shippers, first on my radio show. They just had a big press conference for the National Press Club last week. They said they've all been threatened with arrest, life in prison if they release the information they have. What is that information? Part of it is W199I. This has come out in the BBC. And ladies and gentlemen, I mean, here's just some of the headlines. This is BBC, and later we'll show you a close-up of that. And this came out the 11th of November, or the 6th of November. And it gets into W199I. This is where Bush ordered the Defense Department, Defense Intelligence, FBI, and every other law enforcement intelligence agency, CIA, not to stop al-Qaeda, to leave the al-Qaeda funding mechanism alone, bin Laden's family. The document is marked secret, case ID 199I's only, WF 213589.199 is the FBI code for case type. 9 would be for murder. 65 would be in cases of espionage. 199 means national security. WF indicates Washington Field Office Special Agents were investigating ABL because of its relationship with the World Assembly of Muslim Youth, and it goes on and on. Now, in the government prior knowledge section of Infowars.com, we have all this in detail for you. Here is another headline, this out of the Times of India. We have similar headlines from AFP, you name it, and it says Bush took FBI agents off bin Laden family trail. London, America, was itself to blame for the events of September 11th. So they're using this to destroy the liberties of Americans. And here to talk about this and other issues, because it's tied into everything today, is Chris Athanas of RealityExpander.com. And who puts on the most programming here on Access or counter programming. Got to change your language.
I do work on it.
On Access, and Bob Dacy, my good friend.
Thank you.
Who has been on now about 2-3 years.
This is our third season.
Third season,
Yep.
and been fighting the New World Order. And it is great to have both of you here tonight. You have a website, right?
Well, yeah, it's the simple truth, but it's so weird that nobody can remember the numbers yet. We're working on it, Alex. Give us some time.
Can you get a link from the hardware store, Inc.com?
No,
Not yet.
no, not yet. We're working on it, and it'll be
And
simple
then there's
eventually.
RealityExpander.com, and we'll plug those later. Chris, first, what's really going on with September 11th?
Well, they're just, I believe they're consolidating power. They're scaring people using this war on terrorism, which, terrorism is just a tactic of warfare. It's the same old thing as all the different wars that they put on, including the war on drugs, the war on poverty, the war on ignorance, and on whatever other war they want to start. It's meant to consolidate power, as they are the monopoly solution. They set themselves up to be the monopoly solution to all of our problems. And I feel, this is my big thing, is I feel they're doing this with the manipulation of our economic system.
Well, certainly. And the plan, the system that we have developing here is again always to. You can just get rid of that. Give me this one. Give me that microphone. No, he says it doesn't work. So you can just use this one. That's why I always have an extra microphone.
Yeah, good for you.
Special access system. Okay, break it down for us, Bob Dacy. What's going on?
What's going on, unfortunately, is Alex Jones is right again. That's what the problem is.
But it's not Alex Jones being right.
The
He's
people are
presenting-
waking up.
He's
Listen,
presenting information that it has really nothing to do with Alex Jones being right. It has to do with the information is coming out in full effect.
With Alex at the very forefront
Yes.
of getting this done.
He is one of many klaxon callers.
I have to admit that when this happened on September 11th, actually before September 11th, what was it? August you got on TV and July the 26th or whatever. When you did that, I was watching your show, and you were saying, "Okay, they're going to blow something up. They might use bin Laden, and they might attack Lower Manhattan. They might attack the World Trade Center. Tell them we know they're going to do it."
Right.
You were doing that, and I'm going, "Oh, come on, Alex. Gee, I don't want this to happen in my lifetime,
I
And
said
I'm
the
going,
same thing.
"Oh no!" And then it happens, and you were right, and.
I was
Here
saying
I
the same
come
thing.
once again. You get me dragging, kicking, and screaming to your point of view because you were right, absolutely right. And
I remember watching July 25th, and when you said those things, and I was like, "What are you talking about, Alex?" I mean, you couldn't really actually say dates or times or actual things that they're planning on doing, but I started actually asking people to call the White House to say no, don't bomb anything, but I didn't understand really where it was coming from, but I got my ears up on that stuff anyway.
Well, you're right that a lot of people understand throughout history that, I always use the same examples. Nero burned Rome to blame it on his political enemies when they were becoming too popular, when they were winning the ideas in people's minds. Hitler blew up the Reichstag to blame it on his political enemies on February 27th, 1933. Pearl Harbor, they allowed the Japanese to attack. That's now confirmed and admitted.
Alex, it's a lot worse than they allowed them to attack. If you really go into Robert Stennett's book, not only did they allow them to attack, they planned the attack, an 8-point plan intended to goad the Japanese into attacking us, and they followed every point on the plan, and they didn't just know they were going to attack, they manipulated them into attacking us. It's worse than that.
But Bob, from what I understand, this is a secret cabal, not secret, but a cabal of very highly educated people who know human nature, who understand human behavior, and know how to manipulate the masses into doing what they want. So this is not just one-time deal kind of thing. This is an ongoing sequence of events, a style of management of human populations.
And as far back as even
Forever.
100 years ago,
Seems like it's been forever.
when our friend Cecil Rhodes, in his will, set up all of his Rhodes scholarships, his whole point was to gradually absorb the wealth of the world into the hands of a few elites.
Right. Who
That was
feel
his
that they know
plan.
how to manage it better. Who
That was
feel
his
that they know
plan.
how to manage it better.
Right. Right.
That is their true, honest,
And they
heartfelt
think
belief.
that if the super rich, the super wealthy can run the world, then everything will be just hunky-dory. I mean, that's their...
But that's
the-
not true. They have
No.
a taste for blood and
They-
destruction.
and they will
These
These
kill
are
to
really
get...
evil people.
And they will kill.
Many of their high-level servant minions, like I just had the Bilderberg Group meeting, and it wasn't in Brussels, Belgium this year, just last weekend. It was going on in the big five-star hotel outside Dacy. It was finally covered in our newspapers. 5 years ago, we were kooks to talk about it. And what was on the agenda, because Big Jim Tucker from American Free Press was able to get informants inside as usual, when they're going to invade Iraq and other nations, and now they've decided to put the invasion off to the beginning of 2003. And so it's the same thing over and over again. The problem is, and this is the point I want to make to the viewers out there, is that they're going to take your pension funds. They're going to take your homes. They're going to take your property. They're going to take your mind through this culture. And you have to realize that it's in stages. After each terrorist attack worldwide gets bigger, they tighten the noose of control around your neck. They have to get you into these compact cities in the name of protecting everyone, get us off of the rural areas in the name of protecting the environment. Once they have you in the compact cities, and it's the cashless society with the ID cards, with the face scans to leave your home, and with 4 different levels of, quote, national security to even be able to get in your car and to have jobs. They've admitted that's where this is all going. And we're only talking a few years away if you don't fight this. Once they, in the future, get us into these systems, that's when the suitcase nukes come. Once they've got that next level. The next level, they don't have it tight yet. The next level is the rope all the way around our neck, and then the man in the black ski mask, the executioner, moves to the lever.
But wouldn't that event be actually those levels you're talking about? Those levels, which I believe we already are in it. It's just what level are we in? I believe that
It's getting tight here.
Yeah, no, I believe the suitcase nukes and the bioterror attacks that they're going to do maybe this summer or maybe.
Dick Cheney says it will happen. Then he smiles and says,
Will bring
"If you
on-
continue the investigation."
Right. Well, they will bring on those systems of control into a tighter noose. I would conjecture at this point that they actually have everything that you mentioned before. They have that already now, but they just don't have it 100%. They've got it 90%. I mean, they own all our property through the property tax system and the fake money system, for that matter.
But we still think we're free.
Well, there's this. That's a psyops. That's a psyops. So they think they convince us that we're still free, when in fact these systems of control are already implemented.
But the reason they have to, you're right, the reason they have to ratchet it up now to the next level, and they plan to do this a little bit later, they're behind schedule, now they have to do it later, is because they see people realizing their system. It's like when you're up against an elephant at an inch away, you can't see that it's an elephant. You just know it. It's got it stinks or whatever. But when you finally back away, then there's 360 degrees to see that elephant, and they realize that most people are rats in a maze. They think they have choices: left, right, forward, backward, down the chute. Phony left, phony right. All this garbage. They realize that a lot of us, millions of us, black, white, people all over the world, have gotten outside the box and gone, whoa, look at that matrix-like system.
Yes.
That's why. So this, now when Dick Cheney says, well, if you continue the investigations, there's going to be even bigger terror attacks. I mean, that's for those of us that are conscious. He's saying, hey, Matt, keep your mouth shut, or it's over for you and your family. And for the rest of us, it's like, oh, God save us, Cheney. Don't distract him from saving us. So you're right, Bob.
Well, if anybody thinks that this inquiry that they're going to set up to find out what the truth about prior knowledge is, they're going to set up this panel, right? If anybody thinks that that's legitimate, I got some news for you. I got an article here in the Statesman here. Panel opens inquiry into cooperation lapses. This was yesterday in the Statesman on page A8. I'm looking at some of the key figures in the inquiry. Senator Bob Graham, he's the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee. He's also a member of the Council on Foreign Relations. Representative Porter Goss, Republican of Florida, he is the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. He's going to save us. He's also a member of the Council on Foreign Relations. And CIA Director George Tenet is also a member of the Council on Foreign Relations. And if you study the Council on Foreign Relations, you know that they are an organization committed to globalism. And they're going to have this investigation, and they're going to find out exactly what went wrong. And if you believe that,
Well, look at the
Who
headline.
can believe that?
Well, I mean,
who
look
is
at-
this designed for? I know. Is there anyone that actually will believe that the truth will come out from this? I mean, most people know that Kennedy was not killed by that lone nut assassin. And I mean, what could possibly come? Who is this designed for?
Well,
it's
actually,
not for me. It's not for
actually,
me.
a magic bullet did it, and the Senate Judiciary Committee is doing a joint session, which they do have public. And Arnold Spector said he knows the FBI didn't do anything wrong, and they're going to have this investigation. He came right out and said we're going to support the FBI, and make sure you get some more funding.
Well, I think it's
Really? So it's already a full-on sham to begin with.
Well, look, but they are worried about having to whitewash these points, so they're having a week-long joint session of the House and Senate Intelligence Committee in the big secret room up by the dome of the Capitol, and they admitted to script it, but that's so none of our intelligence people get hurt. They admitted they're going to craft it all and then come out and present it after a week of rehearsals for the public. And this Rowley FBI agent, she's a shill. You read her memo, it's got enough in it that, oh, you guys really screwed up, we warned you. She was on the outside of it in Minnesota. It was really other FBI agents like Robert Wright and others that were working with shippers that we had on the radio months ago, last year, 2 weeks after the attack.
I remember that.
And so, but it's not just that. They've been killing FBI and defense intelligence people. A top colonel running one of the big spy agencies, and we'll cover that. It's in Knight Ritter News Service in Sacramento Bee. He's about to get court-martialed. Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't.
He came out and said it was the government. I love it. So now we have the deputy FBI director, John O'Neill, who quit 2 months before and did some interviews with the French news, and it came out last year that he said he was ordered not to stop Al-Qaeda. And so he quit. Now, he died September 11th. I don't believe he actually died in the building. They threw his body into the rubble, and, oh, look, he died in the building. So they've actually killed, and I've been told by my sources, when I get calls at 1 a.m. from retired admirals, that they've actually killed, it looks like about 100 intelligence people, because it's not in their, they're very secretive. They don't know how to get the information out. These guys really believed in the system, didn't understand that every time they sent this stuff to Congress, that a hit was put on them. So right now, they've got this committee, so everybody believes in it. People think folks are smart. A lot of these intelligence folks are so brainwashed and so compartmentalized, they're not.
Right.
They really think it's some secret group in the government that allowed this to happen. And so they're killing a lot of these people right now. And that's why you heard David Shippers up there at the press club saying, well, we've been told we'll be arrested if we go public with this. And the FBI guy's crying on stage going, I wish I could tell you. So they're telling them to keep quiet. They're all in danger if they don't go fully public now.
Also,
Yeah, that's
in
really
that,
important.
In
That's
that
a very
same
good point.
in that same press conference, when it wasn't even reported in most of the right-wing so-called press, in that same press conference, Larry Klayman said, "We've got more FBI agents waiting in the wings,
Many more.
and they're going to come out." So they hadn't killed them
But
all yet,
why-
Alex. But you're right; they better hurry up and get out, get public, get in the light of day.
Oh, why haven't they come out? What are they waiting for?
I don't know. That's a good question.
There's literally hundreds of cable access stations around the country. There's internet sites all
Maybe-
over the place.
maybe they
There's
believe
internet
in the
radio
system.
stations. I can't see how they can put more
They
faith
said
into
it. They were sent a letter. Shipper said this back at the time, and they've been sent other letters. They will be arrested and given life in prison.
Yeah, but the one agent that came out and actually did say
That's their
something-
whitewasher. They're
Look,
allowing
look,
Rowley. Rowley comes out with a shill and says, we need more funding, and you drop the ball. Oh, and what was Arlen Specter's other comment today in the Judiciary Committee in the Senate? One thing I'm mad at you guys, though, and I'm going to back you 110%, and I've taped it up. We'll have it in a new film. He's sitting there, and he looks at him, and he goes, is this probable cause? I don't want probable cause. He goes, you get out there and you stop these terrorists. Well, the average, and that clip will be all over the news tonight, the average Joe Sixpack Sally Soccer Mom goes, yeah, it's a probable cause caused the attack.
Oh, what?
When they admit, this is what came out. The FBI ordered them not to stop Al-Qaeda. This all came out. Now they're just diverting you with it. And then they knew the hijackers were going to attack and never stopped them, and the CIA and FBI never stopped them. That's what W199I is. They ordered them under penalty of arrest. They're now admitting it. If you keep doing this investigation, you'll be arrested as a spy for stopping known hijackers, members of Al-Qaeda. So that's out in the open. But it's like sleight of hand, misdirection with a magician. It's, oh, look, the FBI and CIA are blaming each other. Well, what are they blaming each other for? See, there's no discussion of that until everybody's heard about it for 6 months
They don't
and
care.
is sick of it. They go, oh, they get all kinds of intelligence warnings. Shut up. I want to go back to my 401k and my golf game because I'm a member of the elite because I have $400,000 in the bank. When you're a low-level poor person, compared to the globalists.
Alex, I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
Number 7 on Mike Rupert's little timeline talks about in January, Bush ordered them to back off the investigation of the bin Ladens. Isn't it true that they were investigating his relatives in the United States? Is that true?
And
All right.
and the major, now who we know, the major funder of Al-Qaeda who's now fled to Saudi Arabia.
Right.
Oh, and how did he fly? And there was total traffic, air traffic shut down as 4 different jets flew out from Miami and Boston carrying the bin Ladens.
Okay, the reason I'm asking the question is because they were investigating Islamic charities also, were they not?
Yes.
All right. Robert Wright was investigating Islamic charities, bringing money into the country and getting them funded, right?
Those are really CIA
correct.
charities
Right.
that were first developed during the Mujahideen war with the Russians, yes.
So basically, the Bush administration told them to back off the Osama's relatives who were bringing money into the country to fund the terrorist activities. Is that correct?
That is the main push of the report. It is also in the BBC reports, and the same thing I got from shippers and the military people I've been talking to privately.
And it
It was more. It was the heads of embassies being ordered to let the hijackers back in the years before, under CIA control, and the CIA would come in and tell Michael Springman, shut up, these are people we've got for terrorist training. They actually told the head of the U.S. Embassy. I interviewed the guy, and that's in the News Night interview as well on BBC. So it was that, you're right, it's bringing the money in for the terrorists.
And that's what Wright was investigating, Robert Wright, the FBI agent from Chicago. So what you have here, it looks to me like the woman, Rowley, what she caught, let's say she's legitimate, and she may be. I think she caught a bus driver. That's what she caught. Somebody that's going to be driving the bus. What Wright caught was the money trail. And the money trail leads straight back to the bin Ladens, which, of course, links them to the Bushes.
And then Carlyle Group, which is making record profits, went from the number 4 defense contractor a year ago now to number 1 broker.
And it's private.
And the Bushes are principals with the bin Ladens, and it came out in that press conference at the National Press Club, what we'd already reported, it had already also been in the mail over in England, the Bushes vacation with the bin Ladens.
Yeah.
And so now you wonder why
That's
this Rowley woman gets a false pat on the back from the FBI at the same time they're telling Wright, you better shut up. Because Wright's going after the money trail and leads straight back to
Yeah, you're
George.
right. They could be using her because she's just because she's got some tiny little piece and is obsessed with it, and then they'd throw her out there. I'm just saying, she's so good, we may make her deputy director. Meanwhile, they're like murdering FBI deputy directors and running around, killing
Now,
people.
Do you think the reason why a lot of these FBI agents haven't gone forward is because they are compartmentalized and don't know some of these different, very significant pieces of information?
It's like they're in the mafia. It's like they're in the mafia.
They don't know anything different.
They go on trips with the mob. They live with the mob. They go to church with the mob. And it's like that first La Costa Nostra person going public in the 50s.
Right.
And that's already happening. I mean, it's already defections everywhere. I mean, sometimes these people call me or they send me stuff, and it's just like I'm burning it, man, because there's no way to even prove this stuff, and it will get you killed. I mean, it's just horrible. The government's doing everything. I mean, they run white slavery. Yeah. They ship the drugs in. They run the snuff films with the babies. Right. I mean,
it's a criminal syndicate.
These people
why we use the word government anymore? It's not a government. It's a criminal syndicate
that understands, as you said, the psychology and knows how to manipulate. I mean, these people, they practice evil like a gardener practices gardening.
Yeah.
I mean, they love it. They craft it.
But right now, it's all. Given the context we're in, it's not funny.
No,
but it is almost amusing now watching the way the FBI is changing their story from minute to minute. First it was, oh no, we had absolutely no idea. And then it was, well, we had kind of a sort of an idea, but it was too vague. And then, yeah, we did have a pretty good idea, but we just kind of couldn't connect the dots. And then, we had a real good idea, and we were threatening our own agents to shut up. I mean, they keep backing up, backing and backing and back. And now the thing is this: it's like, we did kind of know, but we screwed up because the FBI and the CIA just can't get along. It's a fraternity rivalry.
And we need to have we need to have a super organization that controls state, local, and federal law enforcement under FEMA and Homeland Security. And by the way, we're passing this Model States Health Emergency Powers Act, where we admit in the front page of the paper we're going to round you up, put you in sports stadiums, and quote, shoot your grandmother if she doesn't submit. And Oklahoma passes it and admits all guns will be confiscated for the mere threat of crises.
Right.
And this is in the newspaper, and you're going, good, save us, God. Government never wants more power, but they've sure gotten total power now. They're not behind this. So look, it's not just motive, and it's not just that they stood to gain from it, and that they stopped the FBI and Defense Intel and CIA, the low-level and mid-level assets, from doing it. It has now come out, as we told you day one, because my sources are impeccable, and plus I can analyze this, and everybody else can. If you just would turn your brain on, it's like it's just out there. You just tune into what they're doing. It's a total wavelength. You're sitting there looking at it. It's everything. It's the mayor of San Francisco told not to fly. He's in the San Francisco Chronicle going, Feds calling me not to force it, don't fly to New York. MSNBC, Joint Chiefs of Staff in a meeting go, well, we were told not to fly, and everybody turns red. These guys aren't even, the mid-level ones aren't even good at it. That's why they're having to create this whole new super agency.
They haven't had the prep for the questions yet. They're getting questioned quite a bit lately, and they haven't had to respond to questions.
Well, they didn't expect. They thought, will it work with Pearl Harbor? Will it work with Hitler and the Reichstag? And also, somebody in 2000 leaked to James Bamford when it was still secret. It's now been declassified. The Northwoods document. Right. Would you gentlemen like to talk about the government's plan publicly to blow up buildings in D.C., bomb Washington, hijack aircraft, sink ships to blame it on a foreign?
And that is just the one public document that we know of. There must be a huge program set up for this stuff to set this kind of things off when they need to happen.
We know they did it. We know they did it in Indonesia to blame it on the communists, because that wasn't part of the agenda there. When the communists are supposed to take over, they do. But no, Suharto was good and bloodthirsty. So they did it there. They killed 5 of their own generals, and it's the same crap. But Northwoods document.
No, the Northwoods document is all that is like when they blew up the Maine. It's the same thing, except for they actually blew up the Maine. The Northwoods document was 62. They had a plan. L.L. Limnitzer, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, signed it. Isn't that correct?
Yeah. It went all the way up to the president. Yeah.
And they thought, well, we need to go ahead and get out. We need to get Castro, so we got to have a pretext. Well, what if we shoot down some American airliners? Blame it on Castro. What if we attack the Marines at Guantanamo and blame it on Castro? What if we sink a ship or two and blame it on Castro?
It's about setting up boogeymen, knocking them down, and getting the American people, whoever mass they want to manipulate, to give them the maximum amount of power so they can have a bubble of complete anonymity and control. Where they
think about that Northwoods document. It is nothing compared to Pearl Harbor. I mean, Pearl Harbor, they actually did it,
right?
And they killed 3,000 Americans. Right. So we'd all get behind going into World War II to help the Soviet Union.
Right.
I mean, come on. They actually did it. People say, oh, this would never happen. Oh, I can't believe this. This is too incredible to understand. I reject it because it's too weird.
Understand
They've already did it.
They
did it in 1941, big time.
The extent of the criminal
and now that's a fact. It's not even arguable.
Well, you see, that's
true.
Well, their stories where they trained the hijackers, Mike was just putting that up, and that was in MSNBC. They said were 5 trained. It later came out in the Pensacola News-Journal. They did train 3 of the hijackers 2 years before. 2 years ago is when they really put this program in. I forget the inklings of it. And then a few months before the attack, we knew it was coming. We were told it was Dallas, New York, Chicago, Oklahoma City, or L.A., and it was, you saw it was Bin Laden, and it was New York, and that's. But look, for people out there, we on the radio, there is so much evidence of government prior knowledge and involvement. So many smoking guns. Bin Laden in the American hospital in Dubai, months before the attack with the CIA section chief planning the attacks. Now, they had to report that here, but to say, oh, we talked to the head of the hospital, that's not true. It's all over the French and British news. They talked to the head of the hospital. It is true. And it was all the locals, and it was a big powwow planning this whole thing. And you say, well, wait, why the Islamics fly the planes into the buildings? It's simple. You have a double agent like Bin Laden, who's a known CIA asset, fighting the Russians in the 80s. His family's deep in with these people. And so, again, all of this continues to unfold. That's just the U.S. whitewash out of the UPI and the Washington Times. So we have all of this unfolding, and the men who flew those planes into those buildings, I'm not going to argue that it could have been remote control. I just know with what they're saying, it's clear bin Laden's taking that mantle on, and a lot of the Islamics don't mind because they're being sucked into this fight. You bring them in, you allow them to hijack, they're at least on some of the aircraft. This happens, and so while they've been building bin Laden up as a demon in the West, it's building him up as a hero over there, then the Islamics stand up and fight, the globalists get to come in and have this war. Again, they're masters of manipulation. A child can really understand this system. But what everybody needs to understand out there is that more attacks are coming. And I don't have to say they're going to nuke things. And I have a family. I'm really upset about this. I'm not here to say this for a fact. I believe the New World Order, the Dick Cheneys, the Tom Dashells, and believe me, they're all in bed together. The Democrats are only bringing out enough of this to hurt the Republicans in this power struggle up there.
With low-level power struggle.
Low-level, it's two different management teams and a subgroup of the New World Order bidding on who's going to be in control. The government wants to kill people. They killed 200 million, this crime syndicate.
They don't seem to mind.
Yeah, they think they gain power off of it.
They do.
I don't want to keep running on. I got some news I want to cover in a second, but you guys go ahead and...
Well,
I mean, how do we fight this thing?
Well, I just want to know why they spend so much time in this disinformation and manipulation of the human populations. Why do they have to let it out at all? Why don't they just do it and do their things? I mean, why do they need us involved? Why do they need our minds engaged and thinking that they're one thing? Because do they gain some kind of? I mean, why? I mean, most of the world is completely manipulated slave state. I mean, we're pretty slavish over here, but why do they need to convince us of that?
Well, now they just want to take the private property and put it into the hand. Now we're going pure surf.
I would say that they already have the private property.
They do. They have control.
But why do they need to convince us so much?
Now they need to affect the full transfer.
The full transfer.
But
They want to have a slave state and the huge creative economy that comes from people being and knowing they're free. Is that what they want? Both those. They want their cake and eat it too. They want to have a huge, creative, wonderful place to.
Actually, that's changing now.
Or is it they want a whole slave state where they control everything?
They did want that in the past. Now they just want to kill. Really, it's more like 95% of us. That's the UN's own published documents. They say 80%. Now it's Chris. You read what Bill Joy is saying. You read what the Silicon Weekly is saying. They're talking about it because they're in there developing it as developers. They think if they grovel enough, they're going to. As billionaires, low-level get a little bit of the goodie. Maybe they'll be allowed to stay till 200. Things like that. I mean, it's about life extension technologies. And for the elite to be able to enjoy that, we've got to be dumbed down to such a level and in a lower-level technological system with the elite building this, this pinnacle where they have their homes out in the country and their air cars and their security systems. And basically, we're all just walled off producing things. And it's the ultimate decadent system. We're going gladiatorial stuff. We're going. I mean, it's really hell on earth, literal hell, just because of the nature. I mean, if Kim Jong-il, hereditary dictator of North Korea. I mean, he won't let his people 2 million starve to death a year because he won't let them grow food because he makes more money off of opium. And the globalists are more than happy to buy that opium from them, bring it into our society, so our daughters, end up being whores at the topless bars to make money for their heroin. So I mean, the CIA will go in and buy Kim. The freighters pull in and they buy Kim Jong-il's heroin, and he goes, my people are all dying. It's gonna make the crop go down this year. And they go, don't worry, we'll tell the sad sacks in the U.S. to send you some grain, rice grown in Houston because they can't grow their rice because they're not allowed to. I mean, this has come out, folks. So China's selling organs, all this. The plan is get us in compact cities, exterminate us. And then they admit, they now have Peter Singer at Princeton and the rest of them saying that they're going to take control. They're already talking in England about licensing embryos to take aggressive traits out. We're going Brave New World.
Well, they had a whole new thing about non-licensed babies and how they don't exist.
Yeah.
If they're not licensed.
The UN's now calling for a world ID card for children, and they're going to go ahead and do that here. So it's extermination, orderly extermination over the next 20, 30 years. I mean, you're going to see it.
No, it's happening. What do you mean it's happening right now? We have the mad
cow,
sperm
counts down by 80.
We have all the weird other stuff that's in the virus.
Sperm counts down by 85% in Europe, 75% here.
It's insane. Well, it's not insane. It's very predictable.
So you want to know what it's about? It's about taking your mind, your soul. The globalists traffic in men's souls.
Yes, they do.
They're all about the psyche. They realize the power of the individual made in God's image. We're creators.
That's right.
And they want to rob you and humanity forever. So these inbred globalists, I mean, look at them.
They are really.
You know, I mean, it's like Dark Crystal.
And the other thing about it is they're totally into materialism, as if that is the end result of the maximum, thing that you can have.
They sell us materialism because they realize it's the road to power with the average person.
Absolutely.
But you said, why are they obsessed with making us think we're free? Well, you know it. They have to have us thinking we're free so that we will... They tell you freedom is waving a flag made in China by a slave and giving up all of your Bill of Rights and Constitution. Okay? And then you go, my God, freedom's being a slave. So, it's obvious why they're doing that. But now it's... Bob, you want to chime in?
Well,
UN population control.
Okay, let me talk
Go
about
ahead.
the UN for a second here. Look, everybody knows I love to bash the UN. And one of the things the UN wants to do, of course, is they want to control whether or not you have a baby, right? Okay, they want licensing, and in China they're doing their little program where they kill babies even after they're born, and they forcibly sterilize women, against their will.
And they're the UN model country.
And they're great, yeah,
they
they're
get
wonderful.
awards.
Yeah.
See, it's right to choice, pro-choice for the government.
But the point I want to make here is to get you to think. Ask yourself this question. UNICEF, they have a motto, UNICEF, that children's fund, educational fund, is every child is our child. Okay, the UN believes, and it's in their own wording, their own documents everywhere, that they want to have every opportunity to kill your child before it's born. They want to make sure they get every opportunity to do it, to make sure it doesn't exist, right?
Did you know they sterilized millions of men in India publicly under a UN program that the U.S. funded?
Of course, why not? Because they believe that we are pond scum. We are useless eaters, useless feeders, and there's just too many of us, and we're like
But on the other
like
hand,
vermin. But wait,
they
they
like us to be around because we do things for them.
Well,
Is that the
but
idea?
less of us. But yeah, still. But the point is, what I'm trying
A
to
few
say
hundred
is,
million to worship them.
why would anyone want an organization that wants to kill your baby? They openly say it. They want to kill your baby before it's born, all the way up until it's born, and even sometimes after. Why would you want to trust them with the welfare of your child if it survives and gets out?
Because Miss America has big painted lips and big breasts, and she goes, I just want to thank everybody in the UN for what they do for the children. Because they sell you that crap.
They do.
All these phony liberals who are the most fascistic, controlling people you
my
can imagine,
God.
they think the UN's good. Kirk Waldheim, a known Nazi, was who they chose to run it from 72 to 82.
No, wait, go slower on that one, because this one, really, I cannot understand how this is even possible. Kurt Waldheim, an ex-Nazi Waffen-SS officer.
Camp operator.
Now, he was a camp operator. And he was the, what did it say, Secretary General of the UN? Is that like the president?
10 years. Then they defended
He's
him.
like the
Head
president
guy.
of the UN.
The head guy, yeah.
Secretary General.
And
Secretary
this
General.
guy was he a convicted war criminal? Or is he let off on some technicality?
No, they just never left him alone. They left him alone.
They just left him alone.
Yeah, he was only following orders.
And he was head of the UN for 10 years.
Well, Kofi
right.
Annan
and they
kills.
still pay him.
Kofi Annan was head of peacekeeping, running the murder in Rwanda. I mean,
Right.
actually running it. We have photos of cutting little kids' heads off. Little kids' heads off. And it's like he gets the peace prize from,
He got more than that. He got a promotion.
UN Secretary General, and then
Yeah.
last
he
year,
got to be top dog.
or it was actually early this year, he wins the Nobel Peace Prize. I mean, that's like giving Jeffrey Dahmer a prize for fighting cannibalism in New Guinea.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it
It
is.
is. It's
It
very
is.
much like
It's
that. It's the
sick.
same thing.
So that's what they do. See, the big lie, you just can't, that's why they tell big lies. Because you tell little lies to your wife. Did you eat the last cookies? Oh, no, honey. The kids must have. You do that. You think in small terms. You're not on the scale. These people go, we'll put a Nazi in. We'll tell them he's loving. These idiots. And you watch them. It's like Madeleine Albright sitting there going, her father, it's like a prerequisite. Her father killed 2 million in Czechoslovakia, Stalin's main guy. Then Stalin turned against them, and which he always did, with after his henchmen had done their job. Because Stalin was like the FBI. He would go out and kill 20 million people in a country and then go have a big trial and execute some generals. Why? They mismanaged things. We need more power. But
Interesting.
so they went after Madeleine Albright's father, and so Serbia helped him. Serbia, with all the stolen goods they had, by the way. Serbia took him, and then later you saw how she helped Serbia out. But anyways,
Jeez.
bombing them in on TV. You help me, Serbs. Please stop resisting. As they would bomb the refugee convoys that tried to go back into Serbia, they'd bomb and blame it on the Serbs. It actually came out in the Spanish news.
Oh, my God.
But anyways, I mean, a colonel quit and said, I was ordered to bomb convoys of refugees. I mean, Serbs were killing the refugees. No, it was like destroy them. Food riot in progress. Running Man. So, look, there's the truth right now on your screen. Whitman, Price, and Haddad basking in the Maui sun. But Albright comes back over, and she's on NBC, Dateline, and they go, battling 500,000 children have starved to death and died from no medicine in Iraq. And this was all scripted. Is that price worth it to pay for security in the Gulf? She goes, I mean, literally, just like Satan, just, yes, I think it is. And then her tongue goes, just thinking of the death, she was just like energized by it. It was just like, To her, she's not into cars or even helicopters or those stupid brooches she wears. It was thinking, I murder lots of people, I have power. These people, their religion is the exercise of power, always pressing on the nerve of power. Yeah. Winston. All right, now I'm going to shut up. You're talking about the UN over there. What are you saying about the UN, the murder gangs?
I mean, come on. They've been doing it for years. The United Nations was formed for the purpose of one world government.
Absolutely.
Period. Yeah. It was never going to be
the threat of nuclear war.
Right.
I mean, talk about threats like extortion. Are you talking about extortion now?
You got to do this. World government
will nuke you and destroy the whole planet unless you give up your sovereignty.
And the people running the UN,
unbelievable.
And the same people running the UN today have armed India, Pakistan, and China with the latest systems. And see, we need world government to stop this nuclear war that could happen. It's the same crap. And now Dick Cheney says, if you distract us with investigations of government prior knowledge, you're ensuring 3 nuclear detonations.
Is that the same Dick Cheney who was on the board of Kazakh Oil? Is that the same guy?
Oh, they just got the pipeline completed? Oh.
Yeah. Is that the same Dick Cheney who was the director of the Council on Foreign Relations a few years ago? Is that the same one? It's the same guy? The same guy who was...
We really need to get these guys out of power. We need to take it back personally at our local level. We need
don't you wish Gore had won?
No,
yeah, right.
It doesn't really.
Doesn't matter. I think the reason the Republicans won this time was because they needed the oil management team in there right now.
I thought it was because the Supreme Court said Republicans won.
Well, it's more than that. Yeah, but both sides were battling it out, and the globalists said,
look, these guys are better at managing the pipeline through Afghanistan. We got Cheney, we got Unical, we got Halliburton. They know what they're doing better, so these guys need to be in power.
Your American systems are totally messed up and are no longer valid in this modern time. And you're going to need to get rid of your American systems because these other systems are really where way to go.
Yeah, get rid
of the voting because your vote doesn't count. What does it matter?
Well, get rid of the system and then go to a general election, which is tailor-made for the globalists. Then they bring in the third world population and vote in whatever they want. But look, it's always in college you'd hear this thing. Well, this expert thinks it's this in a theory, and this one thinks it's that. But always you knew there was truth in all of them. With the election, 2 different management teams bidding for control. Reuters, which is owned by a Bilderberg Group member, 4 months before the election, even before all that started, said, who's going to win? And they go, well, in the last 15 American presidents, it's been whoever was the closest in the royal bloodline of the Queen of England.
That's true.
And it was a Reuters report. I got it on my website.
That's very true.
And they said it will be George Bush no matter what because his father's third cousins to Queen Elizabeth. Right. And Gore is only related very closely to one of the other dynasties out of the Sun King in France. And they go, currently in the world, it is our British line running things. And this is Reuters. They throw it in your face, folks.
Yeah, I got a good tape on that. We had a giveaway at our website, realityexpander.com, called Bloodlines of the Illuminati. I had a big researcher, Fritz Springmeier, who's been researching that for years and years, about how these bloodlines of families get together and basically maintain control of the world through these psycho structures that they build in our minds.
And if you think our friends at the top levels of our government are going to protect you, if I may interject a semi-conservative thing here, this is the New Americans new issue right here. It just came out. It's dated.
I'll show it to them.
It's dated the 17th of this month, so it has, it's not even there yet. Listen here. See that? Foreknowledge and failure. Now, the John Birch Society puts this thing out, and they don't come out with anything unless they got it so locked down that nobody can move it. What they're saying is, listen, yes, there was foreknowledge. Yes, the elites did a whole bunch of stuff to protect themselves from attack, and they didn't do anything to protect you.
Right.
Nothing. Zero.
There you go.
I mean, they sat there at the Italian conference, the G8. You know, they had anti-aircraft missiles ringing that whole thing, you know, to make sure that nobody would fly, Bin Laden or whoever would fly a plane into that thing. They knew about that in advance, right? Yeah, they had the place ringing with anti-aircraft missiles, the whole 9 yards. And as Alex was saying, they're telling all these elites in this country, well, hey, don't fly that day, okay? Just stay on the ground, you know. And hey, Ashcroft, stop taking commercial planes, okay? Take the private planes. I mean, they took all kinds of steps to protect themselves, to protect themselves. And what did they do to protect you? Nothing. So they can't say we had no idea.
Let me stop you and say something on that point. It's not just, you know. I'm going to go back to the election because it leads into this. You have two different management teams bidding. King George II, the smirking twit, gets it, and he isn't running anything, but it's that Rumsfeld. I mean, that guy's got, that's Dark Lord of the Sith right there. I mean, that guy's
but
running
all
it.
these people are low level. So you want to see the
I don't know, man.
guys
With
go a little further up the chain?
Well,
these guys
with
are
Rumsfeld,
intense.
he's like really a favorite of them. Let me tell you, I can just look at that guy and what he does. And ooh, boy. Anyways, continuing, but you're right. They're still mid-level. The Bushes are a mid-level servant family.
Right.
But the point here is the election was about getting rid of the Electoral College. It was about that as well. But also, the Clinton was designed to wear us down, to get corruption. The conservatives all angry. Why that bastard signing on to UN deals, gun grabbing. Then our savior, you know, Bush comes in. And you know, Clinton's gotten done squeezing and so that's, and it's like, he gave Bush gave supercomputers to China. That's okay. He's opened the borders up. That's all right. Well, Bush is giving the latest systems to, Bush just tripled the size of the ATF, but he says he's for the guns. You know, so
anything's better than Clinton. That's the trick.
It's a smoke screen.
But count the death toll. Count the death toll.
Well, the point
so
is,
far.
This shows us how staged it is at the top. And now they admit shadow government is in control. Now leading into September 11th. They called Mayor Willie Brown in San Francisco. FAA told him, don't fly tomorrow to New York. They called Salman Rushdie, who they just love, and said, you can't fly for the whole month of September. The FAA said, you cannot fly to the U.S. on any of your tours. You can't do any of this now because we love you so much. And then it came out that the Joint Chiefs of Staff had a ban on top generals flying that day. And that was even in military jets. And then it comes out that, quote, for security concerns, Ashcroft was not, I mean, these are articles came out before the time. Now, it came out, and I have a link to the Pentagon's website, in 2000 of November. They had a drill where Al-Qaeda tries to fly aircraft into the World Trade Center. And they went through the whole, this is the Pentagon's website, and then it came out today that the Pentagon had done training before of what to do. But you notice it was all training to get things through to make sure they had control. And they ordered them. This has come out. They ordered them lockdown. They had 58 minutes to stop that second plane. Didn't do it.
But they did stop that one over Pennsylvania.
They shot that one down.
So they so that's
by the way,
it's like they have a multiple faction. We can stop it. We can blow planes up and say that it was a crash. We can not stop it and let it go forward. And we can do a delay, and we can make it seem we're going to do all these different.
You know where Bush really was?
To make sure that we got it still locked down.
Exactly. You know where Bush really was the whole time he was hiding out? They had all the CEOs, Warren Buffett. This came out in the San Francisco Chronicle, some of the financial papers. This is something I haven't really gotten into yet. They had like they had like 1,000 top CEOs at a Nebraska military base in some bunker.
With Bush.
They flew and they had, I guess, some big decision. Right. Everybody had to sign everything over. I mean, it's like, you know.
And Warren Buffett, and both Warren Buffett and Bill Gates, two of the richest, publicly richest people, have been getting gold and silver. What do they know that we don't know? They've been investing humongously in gold and silver.
While their media empires
physical assets,
tell you don't buy
not paper, not derivatives, physical gold and silver in their physical possession. What do they know? And Warren Buffett says we will be nuked. We will be nuked within the next 5 years. 5 minutes or 5 years. We will be nuked? What does he know?
And then, well, it's
and why is he blabbing?
Well, it's like the council on. Well, he likes to, that's why he's the big guru.
He's the big guru.
Oh God, he always predicts it all. Yeah, he's in the globalist meeting houses. So you got like 1,000. It was like all these top people meeting with Bush. I'll show you the articles. What the hell's going on?
Where were they? Where were they
They
again?
were at the big
Some
Nebraska
bunker.
Air Base.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, why do you think Air Force officers suspended after charging Bush knew? You know, the head of the big spy center in Monterey, California. This is Night Ritter News Service. I got it. CNN, AP. They just kind of blurb it out there, though. And he says Bush did it for war and to get his approval rating up. Well, yeah, and for a police state and a pipeline and to control the opium.
And to maintain a.
Look at this. Hijackers trail by CIA before attacks. 2 years. Yeah, the Terrorist Protection Program.
Right.
And if
They had to kill the FBI deputy director to keep him blind.
what
What I
they're
think
saying-
the CIA might have been doing here is making sure their assets were doing what they're being paid to do.
But
And
what?
reports go back, oh, this person's going here, well, that will go there.
But what-
And we know that the CIA works hand in glove with the Mossad, who does most of their dirty work, and they have them grabbing 140 Mossad right before the attacks, and our government goes, Fox News, the new deputy FBI director, the new one they put in after they killed O'Neill. Never even hear about O'Neill getting whacked, folks. Anyways, they put him in there, and they go, when Bush was really getting blamed a few months ago, he goes, well, we believe the Israelis had prior knowledge.
Yeah,
see,
where
it's
did that-
our government controls Israel, not the other
Exactly.
way around. And so there's Israel just like the little, killer they use.
Right.
And so they're sitting there with them and going, well, the Israelis had prior knowledge. They were shadowing, I have these stories on my website, Fox, you name it, we're shadowing Al-Qaeda. And it was like Israel and the U.S. were like internally threatening each other at that point. It was this bluffing. You got different factions, the globalists, then like a conductor manipulate, the Illuminati at the top. And this is what they do.
Yeah.
But then I go, wait a minute, if our government arrested 140 Israeli Mossad agents saying they had prior knowledge 2 months before the attack, well, did that mean our government had prior knowledge?
I mean, come
So it was all these spy agencies. It was CIA and Israelis fighting to protect Al-Qaeda. Just, oh, God, oh, God. They had to go into the airports and take their names out of their computers and protect them and threaten embassy heads.
And what they want the average American to believe, which is their latest spin. They want the average American
We don't
to
have
believe
enough power.
that those guys at the CIA were trailing into the country and watched for all those years. They want you to be stupid enough to believe that when they got to this country, the CIA said, well, I just don't want to turn all this vital information over to the FBI because we don't like them. I mean, come on. Do you really believe that? That an American, if the CIA was really looking out after you, that they would have some fraternity rivalry with the FBI? I mean, it's ridiculous.
And then they bring the spin out, oh, we did give it to the FBI. We know they did because the FBI agents were ordered not to stop Al-Qaeda. That's why David Shippers was on the air before September 11th. That's why he was on my show, the first show he went on after. That's why I had Colonel Roberts, former Defense Intelligence, on my show going, looks like they're going to be hitting us soon. It wasn't just me up there saying it.
No, you weren't the only one.
So understand, folks, Alex Jones got on TV July 25th and said, looks like they're going to use their bin Laden asset to attack New York. Yeah, folks, over the years, you notice I don't just say stuff. This stuff's real. Okay, and the government's going to nuke you and your family. And you think, well, they won't nuke Austin. They probably won't.
But it doesn't matter.
Financial. How's the cop going to treat you with a machine gun in front of the grocery store whenever you're walking through? Already the cops, we got to search all the trucks on the road. Look, we're using drugs, boy. Hey, we don't need warrants no more because we're protecting America. We're building prisons too for you. It's all about you.
It has nothing to do with actually getting nuked. It's the police state and this huge global system network that would be hugely
Yeah, that's going to be a major attitude adjustment. And right when Dick Cheney's threatening us with nukes, all this is happening, a movie that's been in production for 3 years comes out.
Oh, isn't that nice?
Some of All Fears.
Right. They have. You've been noticing the movies have been conditioning the people getting ready for these events.
I
They
had-
happen
Oh,
very
yeah.
quickly after the movie comes out. And it's
Hey,
very
all
sick.
these war
We
movies,
need to
right
stop. We need
before.
to really wake up quickly.
But it's not us saying we think that's happening. It's not us saying Lone Gunman, the pilot on Fox, 2 months before the attack. A secret government group wants martial law, so they computerized hijack an aircraft to fly it into the World Trade Center.
Yep.
Now, it's not just that. Bruckheimer, who makes all these big war movies,
Right.
is not going to have a cop show
Yep.
where it shows troops.
Right.
And I have the Ithaca Journal, mainstream news. Our troops have now been ordered to kill women and children on
That's
site.
verified.
I'm about to cover that in a minute. But it's more than that. I had Dr. Steve Pachinik, Council on Foreign Relations member, on the radio.
Very apologetic one, though.
Yeah.
He's very
I just pay the dues. I don't show up to the meeting.
Well, no, he said...
Don't call me that.
He says
Stop
he's
it.
out of it now.
Well, he said he's out of it. He said the government's behind this. It's clear. This is the former head of policy, got the first MIT in psychological warfare. And he said, look, I didn't do all this in psychopolitics, all the major hostage situations. He's a famous guy.
Right.
He co-authors books with Tom Clancy, folks. He, Net Force, all that. Okay, this is who Clancy goes to get information for his books.
Right.
He comes on, he goes, America's turning into a Nazi Germany police state. I'm blowing the whistle. He worked in 4 Republican administrations, Deputy Secretary of State, Assistant Deputy Secretary of State. He says the government's behind this. It's clear. Says that
it's not just sour grapes. He really does love this country. He doesn't want to see it.
And he said, I didn't do all the things I did. He goes, this is what the CIA would do in third world countries.
Right.
Blow stuff up, blame it on somebody.
Exactly.
Now it's our turn.
And he said,
Now it's
I said,
our
have you
turn.
seen the AP articles about how for 10 years, and now admit it, there's $40 million that's paid in to write scripts?
Yep.
The psychops, people like him, write the scripts.
All of them.
These
all
are-
the shows are psyops. Even if they don't seem like they're psyops, even doesn't seem like they're twisting an angle, they're always promoting an image or promoting an idea of a lifestyle that's just not real.
Judging Amy, where she's this great CPS worker, her mommy's a judge, they got their butch haircuts. They're on there. On several of the shows I've seen, it's CPS, it's always right-wingers that talk about an imaginary IMF.
Right. Imaginary.
There's no International Monetary Fund here. That documents just got released that they plan to blow out all major economies.
That's the design. That was what the fiat currency is for.
So, but there is no IMF. There is no blue sky. There is no, Henry Ford. There is no Easter Bunny. Okay, the Easter Bunny, Henry Ford. Jesus Christ didn't exist. It's deny everything. There's no IMF. They have to take the children from the violent families because if you talk about a New World Order and IMF, the judge needs to take your children. Now, that's Soviet, folks.
Very Soviet.
And they know you pick that up and you buy into it, Bum.
Yep.
Well, you talk about the cop shows. I mean, for the longest time now, watch the cop shows. The cops constantly violate the law,
That's all the show is about violence.
and they beat the snot out of people
Yep.
when they're not supposed to. And they just kind of go, it's all the cop shows now. They're always breaking.
And the police do watch those shows, and they do emulate that behavior. And the people who also, those general citizens who watch that shows, also emulate that behavior. It's crushing our society.
And
at
so
this
it's
point.
some drunken cretin. It's not cretin, it's cretin, folks. It's some, what?
What? Really?
Am I right?
I think so. I don't know.
You're Greek.
Yes.
No, my mother, she's got all these degrees in history and stuff, and I was like, I'm sick of these cretins. She goes, actually, cretin isn't right. It's cretin. Because the Greeks didn't like people from this particular area, so they called them cretins. They said it's
Okay,
cretins.
all right, cool.
And then a cretin is a different area. Anyways, I'm trying to make sure I got my Greek right.
All right.
Anyways, am I right?
I don't know. I didn't know Greek.
Okay. We'll call your parents.
Okay.
Anyways, but the whole thing here is, folks, I just don't know how to handle this anymore. They will show some guy who goes, they show you on the cop shows where the person goes like a dog.
Yeah.
And the big dog
Right.
walks over it.
Yeah.
And that's all
Totally
psychology.
dehumanizing.
That's why when I jump out of a car and go, you're violating the gun, because I don't care, and you're criminals, they'll go, oh, jump in their cars and drive off.
You're a bigger dog.
But that scares me. It shows they're down to an animal level.
Yeah, it's very frightening.
And it's not just on TV because, as you know, here in Austin, not very long ago, TV mocks reality. You had a bunch of cops bust into some guy's house in Del Valley and execute a guy for the crime of waking up. I mean, that's what's
But
happening.
nothing's going to happen because the team needed a cold beer. It's Miller time, boys. And I was shown video that I'm not allowed to use. They had an old veteran who couldn't pay his bills and wouldn't leave his apartment a few years ago. And it shows after they kill him, they come out and they're going, and the lawyers won't let me have it. And it's the Austin SWAT team going. I mean, these are like guys that have got the mindless girlfriend, and they drive the black sports car, and they get out with the
Materialist.
tattoos, and it's like
They're an animal.
it's like, hey baby, and she's like, you're such a warrior, though, you're badass. Sick of you, filth scumbags.
It takes a real man to be a gentleman.
Whatever
Takes a
happened to-
real man to go around, and I'm sick of them blowing kids away. In Detroit this year, they shot a kid in the face. They shot Cop of the Year, one of these SWAT team training deals at a school.
Yeah. I've actually trained with the police. I go to this facility called Thunder Ranch out in Kerrville, Texas, out that neck of the woods, and I train with the police out there. And I talk with them. It's a civilian and police training at the same time, actually. And I'm really appalled at how compartmentalized most police are. They really don't understand the full picture and how they're being
It's like
raised.
we're under attack by drug dealers. Any of these people could be criminals.
That's
We got
what
to
they
treat them
think.
all like
and
that.
And they actually think the drugs do cause people to become criminal, when it's in fact the other way around. The drugs cause the criminals to become criminal. because of the, you know, it creates this huge economic power base that they can draw from because it's black market.
The CIA has a system where they bring the drugs in. It's laundered to the IMF and World Bank, Federal Reserve, public, folks. I mean, that's all. That's what drives it. 250 billion here domestically each year, 600 billion worldwide. Then it creates the police state. All the goody two-shoes stand around at the PTA meetings. We've got to stop drugs. Drug test all the children.
Right.
It trains them. Then MTV goes, don't do drugs like this hot chick and a party and Mac Daddy go with the G and the E. You know all that. So your kids end up in a prison. It's like, guys, what the radical cool people do the doobie. You know, all of this, and then the CIA then has the crackhead to rob the house for the jewels that go through the system that goes right. It's another huge taxing system.
Exactly.
Did you invest in Whack and Hunt, by the way?
Power control.
Like the Bushes? No, I don't own a large portion of that.
I wish I could have got in on that. Dude. If I'd only known.
Well, no, you know, we saw it in the Statesman twice. Was it 3 times? The Whack and Hunt prison outside town, they called it rape night. And they would open...
What?
Yeah, they would open the doors and the jail guards would run in and rape all the women. And then they started shooting video of it.
Where was this?
It's about 2 years ago in Austin.
Oh, I did hear something about that. There was
That's just a minor issue. It's not like...
that is some sick stuff right there.
We'll hear for 10 years about a crackhead shooting a cop or something, but we'll hear about it for about 2 days when a cop kills a kid. But the point is, they just don't. They would open the jail doors, they would torture the women, put them in restrainers, and mainly it was lesbians, and they would and they'd bring men in too, and they would just go down just raping women every night, just out in full view, videotaping it, everything.
We need to stop these people, really. We need to make other choices. We need to take back power ourselves.
Hey, they're testing biologicals and chemicals on people in the prisons. It'll come out in ABC News. Well,
it's a concentration camp. The private prisons are the new concentration camp. You're looking for these big camps with the barbed wire out in the middle of the West. No, they're right here in our neighborhoods. The private prisons are the new concentration
What country has the record prison population?
Per capita? I believe it's us.
I think per capita and raw numbers, 7.3 million now in the prison system.
Well, that doesn't include all the slaves in China, right? I mean,
well, if you consider that way, we're all pretty much in the same boat. I mean, as long as we're running on the fiat money system, the fake currency, we're all slaves, permanent economic.
Yeah, they haven't gotten down to.
Just not in the jails.
They haven't gotten down to taking our livers yet, but they've got a big lobby to now. When they kill you, to take the goodies.
Well, I just had on the other night Carl Theus and his mom died of Crutchfield-Jacobs disease, which is not supposed to exist in this country. But
been covered up all over the country.
Craig
Roberts says
she died, and her corneas were illegally removed from her body and given to someone else who didn't know that she had Crutchfield-Jacobs disease. So that's what she died of. So I think we already are as slaves in this country. We are treated.
It's like that movie Coma.
so what are we supposed to do about this, guys?
Turn our firearms in. Worship the police.
We need to stop listening to these so-called leaders and make different choices and take the power back locally.
You see, the question,
become aware of these things and just make different
choices. The question
choices.
people always ask me is this, okay?
And Economic Solutions is a free book from my website, realityexpander.com, and that talks about some solutions. It's free.
Well,
Sorry, go
again,
ahead,
the big question I get asked all the time is, okay, if everything is so bad as you say it is, then how come you three guys are sitting up here talking?
What do you mean? I mean, we have to do 2 incomes just to make ends meet. And with all the productivity increases we've had over the past 50 years, there's
so
something
why are you
very
sitting
broken.
here being able to run
Because
your mouth?
Tell
me, please, I want to know.
It's not for much longer, I believe. I believe they're not going to let this go on for much longer. But because I care, I'm taking a risk. I'm taking an extreme risk by coming up here. We're all taking risks by coming up here. And because we're patriotic and we love our country more than we love our bodies.
I don't completely agree with that. I'll explain it, and my opinion on it. Actually, we're in more danger if we do not talk about this.
Absolutely.
This new tyranny is different from all the others. It's system-wide, it's highly sophisticated, and it runs off of ignorance.
Yes.
I had my dog jump up on the window of the house the other day, and the alarm went off. Before I could cancel it, cop showed up, and he's like, "Hey, hey, how you doing? I'm a fan of the show. Yeah, I know such and such." And I'm like, "The government did it." Yeah. He was like, "Yeah, it's pretty scary. I'll see you later." It's that's why they're trying to breed these young people that play the violent video games and the culture and the death and the basically the peon behavior to get them on roids and get them into a uniform.
Have you seen Grand Theft Auto 3? Do you know about that game?
Yeah, where you kill innocent women and
All
stuff.
you do is go along killing innocent women, children, old women, stealing cars, using automatic weapons to destroy the police. That's training people who are into that mindset.
But then they'll do the same. Well, when we were young, it was Cobra Commander, black uniform.
No, it's much worse than Cobra Commander. It's blood and gore.
No, I'm saying when we were young, it was Cobra Commander in a black uniform driving a black APC. You look at the Travis County uniform, black APC,
Right.
black Cobra patch.
Right.
It's Cobra Commander. But look, folks, and they model off these cartoons. Now the
Absolutely.
UN admits it, funding cartoons
That's
and
right.
soap operas.
That's right. It's mind control. They get the children.
The
It's what
UN
they're
and
doing.
BBC is funding major TV shows, and they're not going to tell you it's that. It's just beyond. And well, watch the children's cartoons. The UN soldiers save us every day. But to answer the question, we're on the air. Jennifer Flowers is still alive, isn't she?
Yes, she is.
And
Monica Lewinsky is still alive.
Monica Lewinsky's still alive.
Chandra is not alive.
John, she was involved in one of the sex cults, according to the reports.
But go ahead. Sorry.
Side issue. She was a compromiser. Probably, well. But let's get back into this for a second.
Yeah.
When we're trying to understand why they don't come after us, it's because, well, I mean, America's changed. People are wise to what's happening.
Yeah.
They told us NAFTA and GATT was good, the jobs are getting lost. The factories shutting down. They told us all this. People went and heard what we said 10 years ago about the UN wanting to take over with a world tax. Now it's on the news. I mean, you take, radio stations, let's say like in Amarillo, that pick me up at night. Well, now suddenly I'm on during the day because stations will pick up an hour of my show at first. Suddenly it's 6 hours.
Right.
Then it's 9 hours a day with my
Right.
rebroadcast
Right.
late at night. Now it's, and that's just Alex Jones.
That's right.
With what we're doing.
And it's really not your opinions, really. I mean, you put it together for people, but it's all about the news.
Yeah, and exactly. I'm a little bit better on the radio too than I am on TV. But continuing with this, because I have to give people the total view of this, I'm telling you about my experiences. 5 years ago, you're a kook, you're a liar, ha-ha on the street. Now it never happens. People run up, they're agreeing, they have something to say. Since I've complained about folks bugging me in grocery stores, they've stopped, and I appreciate that because I can just get my food and get back to work. But again, it's not about me. It's a gauge that we're having a response.
Right.
I mean, you've gotten a huge response.
I actually have. I mean, I've only been on the air for less than 6 or 7 months now, and I don't go out very often. I
We
work
had
out of my
shows
house.
on for years before that.
Yeah, but they don't know who I was. I mean, they had no idea of my face. But I've been recognized multiple times now.
But the
and
thing
it's really
is-
quite incredible because I don't get out very often.
Yeah. So what's happening here is they create the illusion up here to the propaganda organs that we don't have power, that we can't affect change, that we're a bunch of kooks, but that's shattered.
Yeah.
And
It's amazing how they have to respond to it.
Oh, they are.
Then they're twisting it and just saying, "Oh no, please don't even listen to what they say."
And well, Bob, you've been really patient. Let me just finish. The cops, the military, this Air Force officer just went public, Air Force colonel. These FBI agents, finally, I warned folks for years, tell them what's going to happen now, so when it does, credibility will go up. Okay? Point it out now, when they see Bush go and sign the UN tax thing down in Mexico, people go, whoa, it is global government, global tax. So the globalists only have a few thousand really good hitmen and people. It's sociopaths, and usually they like to retire those guys, kill them too. And it's only a few thousand globalists and top minions, you know that.
That's right.
So really, it's the little man behind the curtain.
It is very much that.
Okay, so they have to get us ready for this big.
Hey, there's the billboard.
Yeah, that's awesome. Chris put that up. So that's what I'm trying to say here. Don't be afraid. Be more afraid of the system-wide changes, of the World Bank documents that got released that they plan to take your pension funds.
Yes.
I mean, this is all planned. So do you see where I'm going, Chris?
Yes.
System-wide, yeah, they could shut everything down.
But no, the question Bob had was, what about talking?
Go ahead, Bob.
I'll
I'll
come on
interrupt
the
you.
air and talk about stuff.
We're talking about all this negative stuff, but here's an example. You're talking about the response that you've gotten.
Yeah.
Okay, my show's in its third season. That's
Yes.
A Simple Truth. That's on Fridays at 8 o'clock, Channel 10. Little plug there. The response that I've gotten has amazed me because I'm talking about a bunch of people, a whole bunch of people over the years. And this is the worst thing that's happened to me since I've started to do this. The worst thing that's happened to me in all this is I had a friend of my wife ask her when she saw me on the show, She asked, "Doesn't that embarrass you?"
Embarrass.
Can you see how minor that is? How ridiculously minor that is? Everything else that people come up to me.
That's the worst that's happened.
That's the worst. Everybody says, "Hey man, y'all are doing a great job." People try to throw money at us. I'm not kidding. And they say, "You're doing a great job. Keep it up. We know you're right." And it's very rewarding because initially I thought, "Oh boy, I'm gonna get lanced if I do this."
Too.
But it's been the exact opposite because people are waking up big time. I mean, people you wouldn't even think would have a clue are
It's
waking
really
up.
wonderful. Yeah, it's a huge cross-section of people.
So, bottom line, have you ever been in that crowd and the speaker is done at the podium and they say, "Any questions?" And there's like that 15-second silence, feels like an eon, feels like 1,000 years. So you're sitting there and finally one person goes, and then suddenly,
Right.
and there's 100 hands, half of them are. So, it's about sponsoring people that tell the truth on radio or TV. It's about supporting publications. It's about becoming a leader yourself, starting your own publication. It's about telling people about Access TV.
Or disproving some of this stuff. Look into it and show that we're wrong, that we're analyzing this wrong, because you know what? I would love to be wrong about this stuff.
I've never had that happen.
I would love to be wrong
I
about
have
this stuff.
never had that happen. Again, the third year, no one has ever said, "Aha, I got you, and here's why." It's never happened.
Yeah,
Never.
Well, look,
I haven't seen
the
that.
point is, I was a kook 5 years ago to say there's even a new world order. It doesn't exist. Now it's all over the news. World government's good for you, blah, blah, blah. I mean, folks, what we're doing is it's right there. It's going on. You have to, whether you're a patchouli-wearing, long-haired guy out there with Nature Conservancy walking your feet off for the Rockefeller Foundation to steal people's land, now you got to have enough fortitude to go research who funds it, how they're the biggest real estate agents, what they're really doing, how they're actually run by big corporations that are polluting.
Yeah.
You've got to leave what you're doing. Yeah. Big Bob Baker, or Mr. Good Old Boy, yeah. You're the guy over here at the country club. You got $1 million. You think you're rich. You're poor. Okay. I mean, Chris here is a major software guy, but very successful.
Yeah.
I mean, I got family that's got 15,000 whatever acres
I'll
over
tell
here.
you,
I don't even care about it. I'm not up here. I'm all uppity. I'm rich. I'm
No.
a member of the establishment.
What? I figured out a long time ago that you could have a lot of money, but if you're not living free in a free country where you're allowed to keep what you own and keep it and have it be secure, it doesn't make a difference.
Well, take Michael Dell.
It's not worth it.
Take Michael Dell. We have 3 confirmed cases. You go to Infowars.com. At that company, they will fire you, even on your lunch hour. Allowed to go to any website you want, but porn, hate, gambling, and hacking. What is my website? It's the London Guardian.
Stories.
Hijackers trailed by CIA. I'm going to go through some articles here real quick. Just real quick. Hijackers trailed by CIA, allowed to attack. Air Force officer suspended after charging Bush new of 911 threat. Night Ritter News Service on Infowars.com right now. Globe and Mail, mainstream. This is not the U.S. Globe, folks. This is the mainstream Globe up in Canada, highly respected. Bush waved away warnings. Gets into detail how he allowed it to happen. They're coming right out and accusing him. U.S. rejected Iraqi offer to turn over alleged World Trade Center bomber. The first World Trade Center bombing where they cooked the bomb, trained the driver. This is out of AP. They allowed them, trained them to bomb the World Trade Center, and then took them to the airport.
Not just train them, gave them the equipment,
Gave them the bomb.
all the stuff to build it, and showed them how to do it.
Now, this is the evil stuff on Infowars.com. We just put it all together right there, like Atlanta Journal-Constitution. They're going to colored money 6 months into next year. They say we don't, and then it goes cashless. Bush seeks new agency on Homeland Security, plan to be outlined in tonight's speech, Thursday's speech. They need even more power now since they got caught orchestrating September 11th. The last power grab wasn't enough. Just, well, let us run everything and it won't happen again. Frustration with government in Oregon. Associated Press. I have the former wildlife manager with Fish and Wildlife on, who's a nature writer, who says it's world government UN takeover. He used to be like a liberal. The UN's really taking over, shutting down the jobs, 14% unemployment, and they passed a UN ordinance. They kicked the UN out. They're now taking out the dead trees. They won't even allowed to do that, causing a fire hazard. So this is the Associated Press. I've got articles. Have a close shot real quick. Thanks. throwing out the United.
That's the UN free zone.
I think a lot of the
right?
liberals we think are these left-wingy liberals really
They thought they were fighting the establishment.
Yes, and they're just working right for them. And I think a lot of them are going to wake up.
Exactly. You think you're going to this to the fake liberal out there. Your every waking hour is getting my shotgun, my rifle, and my handgun. That makes Texas have one of the lowest crime rates in the country.
That's right.
Instead of urban cesspools like Dacy and New York with a total gun ban.
That's right.
Now, you want that, but you don't have a problem with black armored vehicles, face scanning cameras, automatic weapons, 50 caliber rifles, government arming to the teeth, paramilitary. You're not worried about that, are you? No. It's all get our guns. When Hitler and Stalin and Mao,
All of them.
They're all for. Why are you agreeing with them? Because it's what your peer group does. You go to the meetings and have the punch, and the politician comes,
And you know what?
you go over and talk to Lloyd Doggett, and you feel like, oh, we're fighting the corrupt corporations, and you think big government's going to defeat the big corporations. They bankrolled big government to transfer your wealth into corporate welfare to them.
The corporations own the government at this point. And the other thing about firearms is, I don't want anybody to die of firearm stuff. But the thing is, the only things that seem like the criminals understand is force.
Well, it's more than that. 54 children died in 99,
Right.
the last numbers we have, in high school football accidents. 52 from school shootings. Folks, people drowned? It's like 40 times or so. It's
We need
ridiculous.
to ban football.
So why the guns? Why the emphasis on the guns?
Well,
why don't they go after buckets
I think they
instead?
are. First of all, I think it is effective self-defense.
I figured
against
it out.
criminals, and it's also psychological. It gives us the idea that we can resist, and once the firearms are gone, there is nothing we can do.
That's it. And you know what? I figured it out. It's not even that we can defend against a government takeover.
Right.
It is that it holds crime down. Then they can't get their police in for the takeover.
Exactly.
You see, they need. One time the
Exactly.
mayor
Create a
did-
complete crime wave that they can then come in and say, "We'll save you. We'll help you."
Exactly.
And they won't.
That's why they
Sorry,
routinely, people always look at major states and go, you just released 60,000 of the most violent offenders, and you're keeping this guy in for 8 years for having an ounce of marijuana. What the hell's going on? They're like, we'll fix that. We need more prisons. And it's the same system. It's like 1984. The proles, the average proletariat, they're allowed to do whatever they want.
More like Clockwork Orange.
More like, it's the droogies, the gang members become the police.
Yep, very much.
Folks, they're taking the land. They're taking the farms. The Supreme Court ruled a month ago, adverse possession. They can take whatever they want with no just compensation.
Oh, nice.
I mean, they're just grabbing homes. The Forest
And do
Service.
the globalists think that their families aren't going to be involved with this? That they're going to be somehow exempted from this activity?
You mean globalist minions?
Yeah, globalist minions.
You mean the cop out there named RJ? I'm a SWAT team man.
And as an ex-police officer, he's going to somehow retain his right to keep and bear arms?
Yeah, and his daughter. Well, he's going to be sitting there one day going. My daughter just got raped by a bunch of cops in Miami. What the hell? Son's a bit calling up. Hey, I'm a cop. What'd you do to my daughter? And they're just like, parental affairs, please. You're going to be on hold. You bastard. Curse light. You know?
Yes. I do know. They do know. We've
yeah.
repeated this before. It's
Bob, any information?
Well, I was thinking about when you're talking about the cops. I know several Austin police officers, and I guess unfortunately I know a lot of older ones.
Yeah, you don't know Mr. Roy that on 6th Street.
No, I really don't. But I know some of the older ones, and they have a lot of the same concerns you do. A whole bunch of them do. They know what's going on.
But why aren't they piping up? Why don't they come down here and get a show and talk to some of their fellow
this Air Force
officers?
colonel did
You
it.
know it's free down here.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, then you'd have to-
I'll have them on.
You'd
They
have
want
to
black
have.
their face
You'd have
off,
to have an
fine.
ex.
I want my red money.
You know.
Sorry, go ahead, Bob.
Red money coming out. Oh, I'm sorry.
I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, the thing is that the cops are waking up to this. They're not all roid heads. They're not.
They're not. I know
they're
they're
not.
not.
I know they're
But
not.
there's a large
Most
number
of these
few that
guys,
are.
most of these guys are sincere. Most of them, they have families. They have aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, cousins.
Right.
They don't want to subject them to what some of these people want to subject us.
You know
all
what
to.
they do? They take people to jail. I can't go get a gun and take it to a shooting range unless I get their permit, okay? And they'll go, well, we'll actually allow you. It's up to our discretion. I'm a human being. How'd you like it if we took your guns? Well, no, I'm an officer. Oh, you're better than me. You take good people to jail all the time, and your little 3-foot-tall punk jail guards push them around and shove my head into a wall. When I'm with this culture of licking their boots.
If they're law enforcement and they're constitutional and they're abiding by laws, I have no problem with it. But when they go over the line, they can become nothing more than.
But I got this memo from the DPS saying searching the vehicle without a warrant is not a violation of the Fourth Amendment. I don't give a damn about your memo. I got the Fourth Amendment, buddy.
Well, remember this, that they're also intending to disarm the police.
Yeah, 7277.
You cops better look into it.
87-29.
It's gonna be real.
They are intending to disarm the police. I mean, they practice doing it all the time. What happened a couple of months ago?
Yes,
a cop didn't know about that. Where was that, Alex? A cop didn't know about the little exercise, and they tried to disarm him, and
they're training special forces, commandos to take over police departments. We've gone around and videotaped it, and they were outside their sector, and they go get his gun, kill the cop, take over. And they were saying this, and the cop shot 2 special forces guys. And this is what happens. Helicopters land, foreign troops are running around, and the cops blew away 2 of them, killed 1 of them.
So the point is, you cops out there, you got to realize they're out to disarm you too.
Well, see, people
first probably.
September 11th backfired on them because it shows people how real this is going to get. And folks, the Associated Press, they're already bringing foreign troops in.
They are.
Associated Press.
They've been doing it for a while. My brother used to be in the Air Force. I went out in Nellis Air Force Base out in Las Vegas, outside of Las Vegas, and I went on the base there to go to the PX with my brother. They got Czech troops in there. They got
mainly
Germans.
Czech. Yeah, mainly Czech.
They had the German airplanes at the bases, and it was like, what are these guys doing here?
Well, they always claimed it was for training, but now they're here to save us in the skies, and we need foreign Czech troops on the ground because they're helpers and foreign troops. But, folks, look, there's so much other news. This story here, DCF Polk County has worst record. First it was 1 little girl missing that CPS had grabbed.
DCF is a CPS.
Yeah.
In Florida.
Yeah. Well, that's just this particular county.
Right.
Now it's 1,000 missing little kids. And, they'll find some. But,
missing? What do you mean missing? They're stolen.
And then now the government doesn't
missing,
even
stolen.
And they throw them in houses with dirty mattresses, and they put them in mental institutions. And the government, Clinton got it passed, Bush has expanded it. They double the number of children grabbed each year. That's geometric. Can you do the math? If states even get their funds, and some of these CPS people are making like $150,000 a year if they grab a bunch of kids.
And they're sick, sadistic people.
Oh man, you worry about the government coming to get you. They're already getting your kids. Now look, I had some articles here, and I don't know what I did with them. They had some articles about how this is the Oregon County just kicking the feds out. I have these. We're almost out of time here, and I wanted to show people this. 50 million baby births not registered each year. The London Telegraph, and you read into it, and you go to the UN's website. They had this meeting in Sydney, about 3 months ago, called for a world ID card, and they say that we've got to have a world ID card to keep the children safe, but they don't legally exist unless they have this world ID card, and they're all pushing for that. Enron papers kept under tight guard. They're now saying under national security they have to have those hearings in secret too.
Well, I just want to make a point about the Enron thing. Enron is not the only corporation that did this little scam. I'd say the majority of the stock market is running the same scam.
And it's all run by. Where did the entire Enron assets a year before the collapse, when it was at its peak, where were they transferred to? Mainly NM Rothschild. That came out in the London Telegraph, by the way, and other publications.
Another way to recoup their investment here in our country.
It's just a consolidation. Your pension funds, everything.
Yeah.
So Enron papers kept under tight guard. You have to do that because the terrorists will get us.
Hi, this is David Thibodeau, and I love the Mike Hanson Archives.
Absolutely. Okay, folks, thank you so much for watching Mike Hanson Archives. Stay tuned right here for more classics with Alex Jones. But to support this channel, what do I say? You've got to buy the book. That's how we support this channel, Victoria. And it takes a lot of money. It's about $1,200 a week I'm paying these people in this office, and it's very expensive. And even if you got a book, get another one. Send $25, and I'll send you a signed copy of my book. Did I ever give you a book once? Well, I'm going to give you one when I get back over there. When you come, Victoria's fixing to come to Gonzales and help us remodel a motel, and her crew. So I can't wait to start working with Victoria again. But in the meantime, I need help out there to get this book sold and get some more money coming in to Mike Hanson Archives. So call, Cammie will be right there to answer your call if you call 830-672-3089. Or you can write us here at P.O. Box 481 in Gonzales, Texas. All right, folks, stay tuned for more classics right here on this channel, band.video on Infowars.com. Thanks a lot and God bless. You have anything to tell the folks out there?
I love Mike Hanson's Archives.
Oh, now that's what I wanted to hear. I had to see this. Do that again.
Welcome to Friday.
Yeah, everybody's trying to do something here. We need to get them to take all the trash out. Boy, it's like, you know, the boss has to take the trash out and do everything around here. Buffy's gone.
Come on, take me away.
Yay.
It's the best and most comprehensive book on Bohemian Grove, and it's written by Mike Hanson, my old camera guy.
Mike Hanson Archives.
Long live the Constitution! God bless America! And death to the New World Order! We shall, we must, and we will prevail because we're willing to stand up against what's happening. God bless the Republic and the United States! And death to the New World Order! Yeah! All right! Yeah!
Yes, thank you very much, folks.